Hello everyone and welcome back to the Great Book of Grudges. My name is Nathan and today we're going to talk about Grand Cathay again because there's a lot of hype and there's a lot of details that were in the trailer that I find really curious. So what we're going to do is go through certain screenshots and go in the details that might have been missed in the brand new trailer for Grand Cathay in Warhammer The Old World. This video should have come out earlier to be honest, but I finally got to merge my notes for The Old World alongside the notes that I had for Total War Warhammer on Grand Cathay, and as you can imagine the Total War Warhammer notes were about 40 pages. So yeah, let's talk, because there's quite a few details here. Okay, so already we can stop, because as you can see here, we've got the icon for the Dragon Emperor, which is expected in the center, and then 5 icons down below. 4 of them are colored, which is at the bottom, Miao Yin and Zhao Ming, the black and white ones. On the left-hand side, we've got the green one, which is Yuan Bo, the Jade Dragon. And on the right, we've got a fiery icon, which is very likely, obviously, going to be Li Dao, the Fire Dragon. In the center, there is an icon, but it remains uncolored. Well, it's just not the same style. This is really curious, mostly because that's 4 of the named active dragon children. There is one missing, which is more blue style. That would be Yin Yin, the sea dragon. No word on her. And you might be going, well, we already knew that there's like 5 active dragon children. What's very important to note here is Shen Zhu, the light dragon, went missing for the campaign of Total War Warhammer, you know, the whole Demon Souls race. So she might have been missing for a lot longer than many people have been suspecting. So I'm quite surprised that we haven't seen 6 icons. There are 9 dragon children, when we know some of them are already dead at this point, or missing. Well, the general term is lost. But it's kind of curious that Yin Yin's icon wasn't represented, and still nothing on Shen Zhu. I actually did a video on her very recently where I was just kind of confused. We don't know what's going on with the story, and it looks like we just don't know when the story actually kicked off. So we get our first look at what the Dragon Emperor looks like, and this is super cool. One thing is, I don't imagine we'll ever see the Dragon Emperor as a playable character in the Old World. God-style characters are just way too much power level, and we already technically have some demigod characters. I know Croak comes in, but that was during fantasy, and to be honest, in most cases, you know, Croak wasn't even that useful. It's very different to how they play in Total War Warhammer, for example. We do see him in dragon form a little bit later, but I think that it's just cool to see his human form. For Grand Cathay, this would be like looking at the Emperor of Mankind. So yeah, no, very cool. So what's very curious is obviously Cathayan ogres. We see them as crew when it comes to the new war machines. Kind of cool, to be honest. Those weren't even represented in Total War Warhammer like that. These two here do have more weapons than anything else, so I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing more Cathayan ogres coming in the future, maybe even in this first book. I do think that we haven't seen the full first wave just yet. As we are aware that Zhao Ming does have some decent relations with the ogres, so likely has a bunch of them under his command. It's something that is represented slightly in Total War, and I could imagine this being represented in the Old World too. Remember that the Total War game, while not a direct representation of everything in the armies and stuff, it does kind of link up. It has to be linked up because, you know, Games Workshop is very protective of their IP, and the video games kind of have to be as close to that in representation style as possible. I could see us getting Cathayan Ogre Tyrants, Bruisers, maybe not Slaughter Masters, but I could see us getting some basic units. I do find it very curious that we have seen the Dragon Emperor and then later on the Moon Empress in these styles, right? I guess it makes sense because it's kind of like the whole Cathayan thing of, look who's protecting us, the yin and the yang forming harmony. I'm just like kind of surprised in most cases because, I mean, he looks pretty damn cool. And while I don't think we'll get him as a model, I kind of hope we do in the future. The only issue is it would be really big, kind of like Smog, I imagine. If you haven't seen that Lord of the Rings mini, it's kind of massive. But yeah, I mean, it would just be cool as a centerpiece, if anything. Same thing with the Moon Empress, and I'm mostly curious about her. One, she's a spiky girl, which is really interesting. And secondly, like, her lore has always been a bit more stranger. Keep in mind that Cathay is still going on the process of like being a new faction for us. Like, some people think she's otherworldly. It's been kind of speculated and kind of said that, but you know, it could just be like propaganda in a sense. The big thing here is we do see the Onyx Crowmen also, and that's something that I could imagine being seen as a unit in the future. I don't think we'll see it in the beginning, maybe when Yuan Bo eventually comes in as another book, because like we know the Cathay book is like, what, 48 pages? So I imagine that we're going to get multiple Cathay books, as we still haven't seen a lot of Grand Cathay for Total War, and it's just a lot of units. But, yeah, again, she's cool. The Onyx Crowmen I could see in a very similar vein to what we've seen with the Harpies and Furies in the past. You know, just a skirmishing type unit there, being a bit of a screen. Decent damage, I could imagine, but in most cases, it'll be one of those units that it would be kind of hard to use at the beginning until you kind of get used to them. Geography-wise, if you've only played Total War Warhammer, you might notice Cathay being a bit bigger than you've played through, but yeah, you know, that's how the scaling goes. This is why the Old World map is, from what I've been able to go through my notes, I've got here about 3 to 4 times the size, more or less, of the Immortal Empires map. This is why Reichland has like a lot more settlements. It's something that is going to look familiar, but also distorted until we see the full map. And I can't wait to start seeing more of the map. When we start seeing Cathay, we'll have to see the Mountains of Morn. I'm so excited about this. I really can't wait. The final thing of note, which is something that goes very, very quickly, is this final frame. The Mountains of Heaven, which is right below the fire territories where Liu Dao is, has an icon for both monkey warriors and tiger men. So a lot of people are very curious about this because obviously tiger men is something that was mostly known for Ind, but seems to be also Cathayan in nature also. And the monkey stuff, I mean, yeah, you know, the Monkey King is someone that a lot of people have been waiting for. And I could imagine this is going to be something that we can see in the future. Maybe the elusive 5th icon is not supposed to be a dragon, but rather will be replaced by the Monkey King in the future. Time will obviously tell, but it's kind of exciting. I am more curious about the Tiger Men more than anything else, because maybe it can link up to the idea of Ind in the future. We have seen, for example, Games Workshop staff be a bit more open with the whole mentioning of the Blood Nagas of Koresh, for example. So maybe, you never know. It does look like Old World is selling well, despite what many doomsayers are saying. And, you know, I know it's not selling that much in the Americas before the Americans start screaming about it, but it is doing pretty well in Europe, from what I've been able to see. I have been traveling around a lot. I've been seeing local clubs, and I am seeing it selling. I am seeing big armies. The prospect of the Monkey King is pretty cool, to be honest. I just hope that we get a bunch of monkey warriors to go alongside him. You know, gorilla men, we know those things exist. Some chimpanzee warriors, spider monkeys, and stuff like that. I feel like a proper supplement would be fantastic, but that's later down the line, so we shouldn't really speculate too much. It's just, I know that the excitement around Grand Cathay is quite real, and to be honest, I can't wait to pick up some models myself and paint them up. I think it's going to be really, really cool, because there's a lot that I want to see from that in terms of just what we haven't seen maybe in Total War just yet. Like I said before, we likely haven't seen the full first wave just yet, and it's going to take some time. I imagine that we'll start getting some Old World almanacs, first focusing on the Beastmen and then the Wood Elves. I don't see them divulging too much information on Grand Cathay just yet. However, if they do, I'll be 1, pleasantly surprised, and 2, quite happy, considering that, yeah, this is an army that I really want to paint up. I'm done with all my core armies, barring just finishing up some Glade Riders for the Wood Elves, which are taking a while. The horses are just not nice, let's be honest there. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Maybe there's something that I might have missed. I was just making sure that all my notes were compiled together and wanted to talk about these things, and just in general, Cathay is awesome, right? Have a great day, everyone. I'll see you all again very soon. For those of you wondering, I haven't stopped the battle reports. I've had to take a small break. Basically, I'm just trying to finish up some armies and make sure that everyone's up and running. There's just some factions I felt were lacking on my part, so I'm just trying to get those done. But yeah, that should start again soon. Walter should be back soon too, which is great. You know, he's the guy that I did the battle reports with originally, but he's recovering. And yeah, some extra people soon. Have a great day, everyone. See ya.